The night air was thick with unease as the friends arrived in Black Hollow, a town hidden deep in the forests of rural USA. They had come for a weekend getaway, unaware that the town itself whispered warnings through its twisted trees and abandoned streets. Locals eyed them with suspicion, muttering about disappearances that haunted the woods. As darkness fell, the wind carried strange whispers that seemed almost human, and shadows moved just beyond their vision. Laughing nervously, they tried to shake off the feeling, but one friend wandered too far and disappeared without a trace. Only a chilling message scratched into a tree remained, words that seemed alive, whispering their fears back at them. Panic gripped the group as they realized the forest was watching, waiting, and the whispers weren't just in the wind. They were calling for them, promising terror that would not end with sunrise. The missing friend was nowhere to be found, and as the group searched frantically through the forest, unease grew like a living thing inside their chests. Town records revealed decades of similar disappearances, each one tied to a particular stretch of forest that the locals avoided. Strange symbols carved into trees and rocks seemed to pulse with a life of their own, almost directing them deeper into danger. Every step they took was shadowed by a sense of dread, and whispers grew louder, echoing their thoughts in voices that were both familiar and alien. Fear spread like wildfire, and another friend vanished, dragged into the darkness while the others could only scream, powerless. The forest seemed to close in on them, hiding secrets older than the town itself. And the whispers were no longer just warnings. They were threats, promises of horrors that awaited those who dared enter Black Hollow's heart. In a forgotten cabin hidden among twisted trees, the group stumbled upon a tattered, yellowed map marked with the words, Black Hollow Mine. The mine had been sealed for 50 years, a place shunned by locals for reasons long buried in fear and superstition. Their curiosity outweighed caution, and they felt compelled by the whispers that now guided their steps like invisible hands. Every corner of the cabin seemed alive with shadows, flickering in the dim candlelight, and strange scratches marred the floorboards as if warning them to turn back. As they deciphered the map, the realization struck that the mine was not just a relic. It was a tomb, a prison of something dark and ancient. Night deepened, and the forest around the cabin seemed to lean closer, whispering secrets of the past, drawing them toward the blackened mouth of the mine. Each whisper carried a sense of inevitability, urging them forward into terror they could neither escape nor understand. Descending into the mine, darkness swallowed them whole, and the air grew damp and suffocating. Every sound, drip of water, scuff of boots, distant echoes, became magnified, twisted by the tunnels into whispers that spoke of death and despair. Old mining equipment lay scattered like forgotten bones, and walls were etched with symbols that seemed to writhe in the flickering light. The friends felt the presence of unseen eyes tracking their every movement, their breaths caught in icy fear. They discovered remnants of a cult that once performed horrific rituals in the mine, sacrificing townsfolk to awaken a dark entity that still lingered. Panic set in as one friend was pulled violently into a shadow, screaming as if the darkness itself had learned their name. Each step forward seemed to tighten the mine's grip around them, and the whispers, now almost deafening, promised that none would leave unchanged. The mine had awakened, and it hungered for more. Returning to the town, the survivors were desperate for help, but suspicion and fear met them at every corner. Research revealed that Black Hollow's founders had made a pact with the dark entity beneath the mine, trading outsiders' lives for prosperity. As the truth settled over them, the whispers invaded dreams, showing visions of betrayal and death. Friends began to doubt each other, tensions boiling as the town's sinister history intertwined with their own worst fears. Every alley, every shadow, seemed alive with intent, and whispers clawed at their minds, convincing them that the darkness could reach through the walls themselves. Old townsfolk warned them in hushed tones, eyes wide with terror, yet none could provide a solution. The group realized that escaping the town without confronting the evil beneath the mine might be impossible. Fear became a tangible force, shaping their actions, and every whisper seemed to promise that the price of ignorance was far greater than they could imagine. The forest and mine called them again, the whispers twisting into voices of loved ones and lost friends. Nature itself seemed hostile. Trees bent unnaturally, roots moved like serpents, and shadows lunged at them without reason. Following the whispers became a matter of survival, leading them deeper into the heart of the mine where the entity stirred. Time distorted, moments stretched into agonizing eternities, and hallucinations blurred reality with nightmare. A ritual was uncovered, a way to contain the entity, but one friend had already succumbed to possession, their eyes empty and voice replaced with an unholy cadence. Desperation pushed the survivors forward, forcing them to confront horrors that tested their courage and sanity alike. The whispers promised power, freedom, or death, and the friends realized that only unity and a terrifying willingness to sacrifice could give them a chance to survive the entity's awakening. Betrayal struck when the possessed friends sabotaged their escape, leading them into traps designed to exploit every fear. Shadows moved with intent, walls whispered secrets, and the forest itself became an inescapable maze. Tensions fractured friendships, and each survivor faced personal nightmares made flesh, compelled by the whispers that promised salvation in exchange for surrender. Decisions became deadly, and trust turned into a liability. The possessed friend lured them into the mine's deepest chambers, where darkness pulsed like a living heart. Every sound, every flicker of movement, reminded them that the entity had been patient for decades, and patience had sharpened its cruelty. The survivors fought not only for life, but for the fragments of their sanity, realizing that betrayal was not just among themselves, but embedded in the very land beneath Black Hollow. The whispers were relentless, and hope was fragile. They confronted the entity in the mine's heart, performing the counter-ritual as shadows lunged and the air shimmered with unnatural energy. Some managed to escape into the forest, broken and trembling, but not unscathed. The whispers followed, lingering in the wind, echoing through the town streets, promising that the curse was not gone, only delayed. Survivors glanced back at the mine's mouth, half expecting eyes to watch them from the darkness. The ending left a chill in their bones. Black Hollow's secret was alive, patient, and hungry. Even as they reached the edge of safety, the whispers whispered their names, leaving an unsettling truth. Running did not mean escaping, and the horrors beneath Black Hollow would continue to call, for now and forever.